Hello! Welcome to Adventures in TV Land. For today's adventure, I've come to Marshall, Missouri to check out the Jim the Wonder Dog Museum and Memory Gardens. There's this cool mural here about Jim the Wonder Dog. It's an illustration of Jim with his owner. And they were in town with the girl with the little red dress. Now, several years ago, I came through here in one of my earlier videos I made on Jim the Wonder Dog. I'll put a link down below so you can check it out. My dad was really interested in Jim, and at least 2 or 3 times when we were driving through I-70 in Missouri, he'd make the point to stop here in Marshall. And so I was passing through this way again, decided to stop and just do another video about Jim the Wonder Dog. Okay, this building is the Marshall Welcome Center and the Jim the Wonder Dog Museum. So we're going to go in there and check it out. Jim was an Irish setter, I believe, and he seemed to have a higher level of intelligence, maybe even a sixth sense that most dogs do not have. He predicted events. He was able to pick out colors. He seemed to be able to count with his paws, and a variety of other things. And so we're just here, just gonna take a look at things and explore a little bit more here in Marshall about Jim the Wonder Dog. Look for Jim. It's a footprint with the arrow into the entrance of the museum. Here's a picture of Pearl and Sam Van Arsdale, the owners of Jim the Wonder Dog. Here is the little red dress, polka dot dress with the white ruffles, where Jim, he was able to pick out the girl in the crowd. Here are some pictures there of Jim's family, as well as a picture of Jim himself. Here are some actual pieces of paper or questions people wrote down that were handed to Jim, and he was able to answer them here. Here's an illustration made of Jim. Here are various items owned by the Van Arsdales. So now I'm in the Memorial Garden. Here is the statue of Jim the Wonder Dog, 1925, 1937. So we'll walk along here. As we do so, there's different plaques about Jim and his life. And basically, you end up right here where you started. There gives some information about Jim, the things he seemed and was able to do. He was an excellent hunter, carried out instructions, even in foreign languages, shorthand of Morse code. He was even able to predict the outcome of future events. These things are recorded by people in good standing. So we'll walk along here. As we do so, there's different plaques about Jim and his life. And basically, you end up right here where you started. Jim the Hunter. He was born in Louisiana. He was an ungainly looking pup and was sent to Mr. Van Arsdale as a joke. Early signs here. Talks about when Jim was able to pick out a hickory tree when his owner asked him, "Let's go and rest a bit under the shade of that hickory tree." Here's the little doghouse to Jim. Here is a painting of the Rainbow Bridge. A little placard underneath there, and although this isn't a rainbow bridge, it is a bridge that crosses over this little pond here. Got some fish in there. Other performances here. Talks about Mr. Van Arsdale taking Jim to be examined. He did perform for the Missouri Congress in Jefferson City. He was asked to bring Jim to the Chicago Exposition and to New York to be seen by President Franklin Roosevelt, but he refused. He was also offered a huge sum of money to bring Jim to Hollywood, but Mr. Van Arsdale refused also. He did not want to profit off of Jim's talent, which he saw as being a God-given talent. Unexplainable Feats talks about Jim picking out license plates in different colors of clothing and sometimes fulfilling requests that were written in different languages. This talks about Jim. I mean, he was featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not and many other magazine and newspaper articles. This says Pearl Stories. This placard has several stories on it told from perspective of Pearl, Mrs. Van Arsdale. This talks about Jim's death. Now we are looking across the street from the museum, and you can see the reflection of the painting on the mural here in the window there across the street. We are now here at Ridge Park Cemetery here in Marshall. Gates opened at 8 a.m., closed and locked at 7 p.m. And Jim, when he died, his owner wanted to bury him in the cemetery, but he was not able to because the cemetery was only for people. And so Jim, he got permission, and he did. He was able to bury Jim outside the fence at that time that surrounded the cemetery. Now, as you can see here, here is where the fence once was, formed the boundary line here of the cemetery. And now that fence is no longer there because the cemetery has expanded. You can see where the fence went all the way down that way. You can see these younger trees that were on the outside of the fence where they've grown up. Went all the way around. And Jim was buried right here on the outside. There he is. Jim the Wonder Dog. So there you have it. Revisit to Marshall, Missouri to visit with Jim the Wonder Dog. This has been another adventure in TV land. If you've liked this video, hit the like button. If you disliked, hit the dislike button. Subscribe to my channel for further content and ring that bell for email notifications. And if there's someplace that you would like to see me visit, or you have a suggestion about some future video you would like to see me do, leave a comment in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this adventure, or any of the adventures in TV land, you can help support this channel by going to either Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon, and making a donation or becoming a member at either one of those two places. Thank you for watching.
Until next time, that's a wrap.